Hi, and welcome to heaven. Oh my god, that was so loud. This is Julia Kivilda,
En Raquel Alves.
and today we come to you with a very, very special episode. It's a Halloween special.
Woohoo.
And so, in the spirit of scary stories, we are going to share all of our scary dating stories.
Yes.
It's gonna be dark. Be prepared. If you're not good with jump scares, don't listen.
Yeah, we have some nice ghost stories to share as well. Scary dates, and yes, the jump scares of a regular 20-year-old woman in a big city like London. So, yeah, grab your, I don't know, a Halloween cocktail or marshmallow, cozy drink, and enjoy the next ghost stories we'll be
Yes,
sharing.
we're drinking Bloody Marys, very on theme.
Yeah, we made them on purpose for today.
So yeah, I think let's start with the ghost stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I have so many of those, to be honest, so it was quite a challenge to select.
Yeah, I think you should stop because I have one good to speak about. So
Yeah, let's just say I've had a lot of ghosts
Mhm.
in my closet. Dating in London is harsh. And before I met my boyfriend, very lovely, shout out to him, I've engaged with some very scary individuals who seemed normal, seemed completely fine. And then
That's
all
how
of a sudden, poof, they disappeared.
disappear.
Where are they gone? Who knows? Did they get murdered? I don't know. But then all of a sudden, they just come back again and again
Yeah,
and again,
hunting you down once again.
haunting your life just as you thought you've moved on. Classic.
All right, shall we hear the first one?
Yeah. This first ghost I've met the summer of 2019.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Okay.
Summer of 2018. I
Wow,
met this ghost. It was
a while ago.
not really, at first it wasn't really like a Halloween circumstance. The weather was beautiful, very lovey-dovey. We would go out on pub dates, bars, text here and there. He would always be on his boat or like somewhere in Ibiza. Ibiza.
Ibiza.
It was beautiful, beautiful days until one day he just never got back to me again. He started texting me less and less, and I don't know, maybe he drowned on his boat, maybe his private plane got in an accident.
We know that now. It's a thing with millionaires too. Like
Exactly.
yeah.
This was quite a wealthy ghost, so he
Yeah.
lived a slightly different lifestyle to a 19-year-old Julia who just moved to London from Poland and had a very, very student income. So yeah, it was a different life. So but anyways, and I was like, yeah, what a dream I am living. And then, he disappeared. And to be honest with you, I was like, fair enough. I was like, I'm not even that surprised. He's somewhere off on a boat or whatever. But then I moved on, I went on with my life.
Yeah, he did. He did.
A few months passed, then half a year, didn't think much of it until I think a year after. I just get a message. Hey, are you in London? And I didn't think much of it. I was like, yeah, I am. Still here, still in the same flat.
I don't go to Ibiza every weekend.
Exactly. I was like, still here, nothing changed. I was like, yeah, let's grab a drink. So I'm like, great, let's do it. Obviously, it never happens.
The ghost keeps on ghosting.
Never happened. And then, off we go again. A few months pass. I get a message. Hey, are you in London though? And, this time I'm a bit wiser. So I'm like, yeah, I am, but, I'm busy. And, he's like, yeah, fair enough. But, if you're free, let's go for a drink. I'm like, sure, if you want to take me out. He's like, yeah, we finally have to plan this date. It's like, we're gonna go there and there. And then obviously, things happen. He has to cancel plans, never see him again. At this point, I feel like maybe I'm being catfished,
Yes.
Who knows? I've met him in person, but at this point, you never know. And so, again, I think at this point, it was like almost 3 years after we met.
Damn, like the 3 years of like ghosts back and forth just telling you, hey, are
3 years.
you in London?
And then I get a message which also says, hey, are you still doing graphic design? I'm like, yeah, I am. And then he's like, hey, would you design a logo for my boat?
I remember that.
Iconic. And then I did. And then
yes.
He wouldn't pay me. He wouldn't pay me. He became a ghost again right after he got the logo. Then, I was messaging him again and again. I was like, you have to pay me. You got the logo. And he was like, my personal assistant will contact you. And she did, and I did get paid eventually. But this was not the last time. He then also once I get a voice note.
Oh yes, that was.
I get a voice note. I can hear he's at a bar. It's like, hey, how are you? How are you, Julia? Are you still in London? No, again, I'm still here, not moving. Still in London, 5, 6 years on.
Oh my god.
And he's like, hey, I have a favor to ask, if you're still doing graphic design. I'm like, not another logo for the boat, man. And he's like, hey, if I send you a picture of this boat, would you be able to change the color of it? I was like, sure, why not?
This was before AI.
This was before AI could do it for you, exactly. And so I did it. I don't know why. I think just for the laugh.
Yeah, also because it was a drunk message, so you're like, I'm gonna play along.
Honestly, no, it was very funny. It was accompanied by some very random sequences of like iPhone stickers of like dinosaurs and stuff like that. So it's like, wow.
The ghost
You're
has lived
down
for a while.
bad. So yeah, that happened. And then actually not so long ago, I think it was like about 6 months ago, messaged me again. And mind you, I know this ghost now has a girlfriend in a happy relationship, but he messaged me again and he's like, hey, it's been so long. Are you still doing graphic design? I'm like, yes. And then he's like, hey, would you design, a logo for my girlfriend's our earring brand? And I was like, no. I was wiser. And I was like, no more logos for you.
And that's how you stop the hunting of this ghost.
Yeah, that's how I expelled the ghost from my life. I said no, and the ghost stopped. At least for now. I mean, it was going for 6 years, so you never know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
crazy long.
at this point, I honestly I feel like we're kind of friends, We're like connected
You and the
in
ghost.
some way, because it's been so long and it's just such a constant in my life.
That's true.
He's always there.
Others. Yeah.
Always there. So at some point, I guess you gotta accept the ghost. This is like one of the most like chill ghost stories that I have, I would say.
All right.
Your turn.
Yeah. My turn for my ghost. My ghost is very funny because obviously I have been ghosted by many people, but like this is like the funniest one, I think. All right. Everything starts, I don't even remember the year, but around maybe 2017, 2018, like as well. And I go into this like language exchange app.
Oh my god. I feel like those exchange apps were like just a bunch of horny people.
Yes, it was. It pretty much was. But I was young and innocent. So I was just trying to like, oh, what a funny way to like learn a new language. That is to speak with someone of that language. And then nobody would like teach me anything because everybody wants to speak English. So I was like, I already know that. Anyway. So I met this guy through that app. And at first I think it was kind of fine. Like he wanted to learn English as everybody else. He was from Peru. Important for the future of the story. And we started talking. He wanted to learn English. I was like, okay, I can help you. So we just like did a couple of chats, blah, blah, blah. He was like nice and all. And then he shared me his Instagram. I exchanged it back. And then I saw he was a photographer. So he would speak to me about his photography. I said I was interested in art. At that time, I was still not at uni, but following design probably, blah, blah, blah. So we just spoke and things. And then we just stopped speaking, but it was like mutual.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, it was great to like meet you and talk to you and all that stuff. I was like, okay, cool. And we just kind of ended there. After a while, I don't have this app anymore. It's been probably like a year or a year and a half. I'm already in London, actually. And he messaged me, this newfound ghost, which I thought it was never to become a ghost, comes back into my life, messages me on Instagram and being like, oh, you're in London.
Seems to be like a common theme.
It does.
Great opener line.
Yeah. I guess if you want ghosts in your life, just come here. If you're not here living already. And I was like, yes, I moved here to study, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's great. I've been thinking about you lately. And I would like to reconnect. And I was like, I mean, sure. I was, again, young, single, whatever. So we start speaking more again. We start speaking as well on WhatsApp and not just on Instagram. So we exchanged phone numbers. And we even did like a couple of video calls while he was still in Peru. I think it was
Oh.
Peru. I might be mistaken with the country actually, but I think it was Peru. It was definitely like South America. And I think we did like 2 video calls or something. It was extremely awkward. It was extremely awkward. The whole video stood about quality on
The
both
vibes
sides.
were not good.
Yeah, I mean, he is real though. He was real. I was not being catfished, but still. But I was like, okay, I'm done with the video calls. This is a bit too awkward. And then we kind of like stopped talking. I'm the first who actually ghosted him because I was like, I'm not sure about this. It's weird. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I was like, ending it.
I'll remove myself from
I'll
this
remove the
situation.
situation. Problem was that he came back and telling me, oh, I'm going to Europe and I might go to London. So would you like to meet? And I'm like a bit scared at this point, actually, because I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to meet this person.
It's getting a bit weird at this point, you know?
And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like speaking to him back and forth until the point I was like, I don't know how to say no. Again, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't do this. But I ghosted my ghost and I did not speak to him again. The thing is, this ghost is better than me. So he came back to my life. I'm already like studying in my degree, blah, blah, blah. We're like after the new year, we're back in London in February. The last time we spoke was kind of like in December. So it's been around 2 months since I ghosted him.
Okay.
Him kind of thinking on coming to Europe. And I follow him on Instagram, right? So this ghost comes back into my feed when I see a photo of him with another girl in Italy. And then I go obviously stalk the girl, and the girl has a lot of pictures with this guy in Italy in her house.
No way.
Which is her parents' house.
Was she also from the app?
I don't know. I just know that I kept following this closely for a bit for the next 2 to 3 months, and he was always there in Italy, in this town, into a couple more Italian cities, but always in this town in her parents' house with her.
That's crazy.
And I was like, I think he used her to
get accommodation.
To get accommodation and a free way to Europe.
That's crazy. Imagine maybe he wanted to do the same with you and he was like, let me reconnect with this girl.
I think that was it. I think that was it, because I think there was one time that I messaged, or he messaged me about something. Like he reacted to a tattoo I had made and I put it on my stories, and he reacted to it. And I think I made some kind of joke of him being like in Italy with this girl that he apparently met, because when we were speaking in December, he was saying he really liked me. And 2 months later, he's in Italy with another girl.
That's crazy.
And then I think I made some joke about that situation, and his answer. By the way, I did not accuse him of anything. Okay, I did not. I just made a joke, and he just like, I don't know, the sock just fit, because he texted back, "You're not gonna tell her, are you?"
No way! Oh my god! Imagine if you did. Oh,
I did not say anything.
I mean, not your drama, to be honest.
Yeah,
but,
it's not my problem. But I was like,
that's such a hilarious story. Or all through this language app, listen.
I know. And it's not the only person I have on that language app on these stories, so keep on listening for more. So yeah, that was my ghost.
Wow, a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, the ghost who originated in Peru, finished in Italy.
You know, the language curious ghost. Polyglots.
Yes. So did I almost get tricked into someone getting these Schengen visas through me? Yes, but I was smarter and didn't. I ghosted first.
Yeah, I think that's very smart.
Your turn, miss.
Okay, I think I'm gonna skip the middle story. I think I'm just gonna talk about the peak ghost story of my life.
Yeah. Okay.
I think honestly, this story had kind of defined part of my adolescent life, to be honest.
I was thinking you're gonna say identity, even.
Kind of. I mean, maybe not. Let's not give this ghost this much credit.
That's true. He does not deserve it.
But
Yeah, because I feel like I'm sorry, guys, and sorry, Julia. I just feel like I'm a bit part of the story as well.
You are, it is true. No, this was when we were already friends. So
Yeah.
Raquel has been with me through this. Like
Through this ghost.
she braved the ghosts through with me together.
On his multiple reappearances. Okay.
Anyways.
Okay, go. Start.
Okay. It was 2019, I believe, when, I was just on dating apps, as you are. And I met this ghost, this guy. At this point, he was just a guy. And we went out on a date. And the date was the day before I was leaving London for holiday for like 3 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And listen, and the date went really well. So I was like, I told him straight away, even before we went on the date, I was like, I'm not ghosting you. I'm gonna be away for 3 months. So listen, I understand if you don't want to pick it up later, but if you do, it would be nice. And so we went on this first date, and the day was great. We matched really well. We vibed. It was going great. And then I left the next day. I literally flew back home and then on like a series of trips through Europe. And throughout that we kept talking. We like stayed in touch. We were texting all this time, and it was getting like the tension was building up, to be honest, because the messages were quite flirty, and we were like getting to know each other, but over the text. And as I was going back, I messaged him and I was like, listen, would you like to meet up? Like, I'm about to go back. And he was like, yeah, that would be amazing. And then I'm back. I messaged him, hey, I'm back. Do you want to meet up? Nothing. I think around a month and a half passed or something like that. It was a long time. And honestly, that should have been my tell, because this was like that first mini instance.
Yeah, the signs were there.
Of the ghost tendencies.
Yes.
But anyways, he eventually replied, and obviously I was over the moon. I was like, wow, it's happening. and we met up, and it was great. We one thing led to another. Let's just say it was like an all-day date. And from then on we started dating. He would disappear every now and then for like a week or two. We didn't live in the same city at the time, so he would just go in and out. This ghost was very scared of commitment. And, at the same time, he's met all of my friends. He participated in my important life events, like my pre-graduation show, and my birthday that we celebrated together. And, things were getting kind of serious, I would say. It was like...
Yeah, your first exhibition as well.
Yeah, it was becoming like a relationship, although obviously it was never defined, because any attempt would lead to, again, periodic ghosting.
Yeah.
And so things were getting more serious, and that's when they also started going more wrong. So one day I get a phone call. I'm just chilling in my house, cooking or whatever, and I get a call, and it just starts with, I don't think I can do this anymore.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I was like, should we at least, meet and talk about it? Should we just discuss it like two adults? But no. He was like, yeah, maybe we can like talk about it in person. It's like, I'm really sorry I'm doing this. Let's talk about it later. And and just hung up. So I messaged him like, when can we talk about it then? Let's meet. Let's talk about it. Like, it's really shitty. Like, obviously we have feelings for each other.
Yeah, let's sort this.
Let's sort it out. Let's at least talk about it. Gone. And a week passes. I'm like, okay, this happened before.
Yeah.
Maybe a week or two will pass and it's gonna eventually come back. But no, 3 weeks pass, 4 weeks, a month, 2, 3,
damn,
4, 5, until one day actually we're together, me and you. I think it was, we are having a sleepover, and I remember we were just chilling in my bed in the morning, and a text pops up on my screen.
Yes.
And it's been like, at this point, it was like 7 or 8 months, I think, almost a year. And the text pops up like, I'm so sorry for what I've done.
Oh my goodness. What do you mean?
We lose our shit. This ghost has returned.
The ghost has returned.
Honestly, like, I have buried that ghost. Like, I have buried him deep in the ground, and
he just resurfaced.
Like, it's been so long, and he's resurfaced.
It's like you hit a pause button and then clicked play 9 months later, and you're just like, wait, what?
And so yeah, I'm like, well, why are you if you're so sorry, why did you do it? And he's like, oh, I can maybe we should meet. Obviously I don't expect anything, but maybe. And at this point I was very like cautious. I was like,
I mean, no, of course.
I was like, maybe not, let's see what's going on first. And then I found out that this ghost has in fact moved to London, which was probably why he was engaging with me
again.
But silly me, I was stupid and I met with the ghost. I was going through another breakup at the time.
I'm sure all our listeners are like, been there, don't worry.
I was going through another breakup at the time that was like quite painful to me. And so I met with this ghost and kind of, one thing led to another.
Yet again.
And we started dating. But this time I was being very cautious. I said, if you ever do this to me again, if I ever start seeing that you're doing this again, it's all over.
Yeah.
Little did I know. Little did I know.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing.
She's not even being able to cope with telling the story.
I don't think even like 2 months go by. It's just another date. We're about to go on a date. We meet up and things are off. The ghost has a panic attack on our way. I'm like, something's off. Something's not right. And eventually, we get to my house. We lived together at the time, me and Raquel.
Yeah.
And we get to our house, things are all great again. We ordered pizza. We're eating pizza on my bedroom floor. And I hear the words, I don't think I can do this anymore.
Oh my God.
And I just go blank. I freeze. I'm like actually terrified. I move away. I'm like, please don't come close to me.
Oh my God.
Go away. I cry. He cries. He cries a lot on my bedroom floor. And he says how I'm too good for him and how he's a horrible person. And at the time, I didn't really know what he was on about because I was like, this is a bit much for you to be saying. He's like, I've been such a horrible person, like I don't deserve you, blah blah blah. And like valid. But also it seemed like he was talking about something I was not aware of.
Yeah. Foreshadowing.
And then, it's really late at this point, and he's like, I'm gonna go home. I'm not gonna sleep here. I'm gonna go home and we can talk about it tomorrow in the morning. So he leaves the house. He passes by you and your boyfriend.
Yeah, we were watching a movie or a TV series in the living room, and he just passes by us. We don't know anything about this on like crying on the floor. So he just passes, and we're just like, what the fuck? And we're just like, oh, is everything okay? And he goes, I'm not feeling very well. and we're like, oh, okay. And then he just leaves. We just are looking at each other like, what's going on? And then Julia comes crying, and we're like, oh my God. Okay, everything has to stop now. Pause. Like literally pause and like, okay, wait.
I was sobbing. I was bad for like 3 days. I was just crying on my bed. And as you can imagine. Oh, and in the meantime, I called him. I was like, you should come home. It's late. No response.
Yeah, just gone.
And then,
gone with the wind.
It's tomorrow again. So we're supposed to talk. So I message. And I message again. And then again. And then another time. And then, a day goes by. I message again. I'm like, hey, are you okay? Did you even get home?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I message again and again. And then nothing. Silence. Vanished in thin air.
Gosh, that's so horrible.
Gone. Never talked to again. Then obviously we still like have each other on Instagram and stuff. And, I let it go. Eventually I moved past it. I'm like, listen, I should have known better, whatever. And I still have the Instagram, so I look. And then the photo of me deleted. Another girl appears. A friend who he visited a week before all this happened. Coincidence? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'm like, you know what? Good for you. I'm in peace. Until a year goes by. And mind you, this ghost is blocked everywhere except for iMessage because I don't use that. And I get an iMessage. I'm so sorry for what I've done. I'm horrible. I know it. And I'm like, thumbs up.
A year has passed. Like,
A year has passed, and I try to banish the ghost. I tell him, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I don't care for your apologies. Just get therapy. He's like, great, I'll do that.
like, okay, thumbs up again.
He thumbs up. He goes away. And then, a few months go by, and he messages me again. He's like, hey, I still have your bank card.
Like, just that randomly.
And I'm like, great. I ordered a new one like
Thumbs up.
years ago. So yeah, there is another segment of the story, but I will be telling it in a different segment of this episode. So stay tuned.
Thank you for the sequel.
Stay tuned because it's a good one. It's like one of the most satisfying aspects of this story. So we'll be back.
So I think now we're gonna jump into our scary dates. Dates in like a big term. It's just like encounters.
Yes.
Like romantic / sensual encounters. Anyway, so we go into the scary dates. I think I'm gonna go with chronological order. This like exchanging app, like language exchanging app, does a feature once again because this is another guy I met from there.
Oh my god.
Literally had more dates on that app than the actual dating app, which does a lot about the app itself.
Honestly.
So this was actually way before London. It was like before everything. Like I was actually quite young. I was around like 17, I think.
Yeah.
I was kind of 17. I was still living in Portugal, hadn't moved yet, kind of was finishing high school. I was a young teenager.
Just a baby.
Just a baby. And I met this guy through a language app who was from the same country.
Girl, you really milked that up.
I know.
Who needs Tinder and Hinge when you can have a language app?
I know, right? So I started speaking with this guy, which is like the most ridiculous thing ever because he was a Portuguese like me. And he was just speaking to me in English and it was super weird. But we were talking and we had like kind of a good banter and stuff. And then we did that transition of like from the app to WhatsApp. And then we just started speaking a lot on WhatsApp and stuff. He is older than me, by the way. So I was like 17, he was probably like 19 or 20. Important.
Scandalous.
Yeah, scandalous. So we kind of start speaking, blah, blah, blah. Start getting like very good banter. Like, and I actually did really enjoy speaking with him. We had like this very weird mix between English and Portuguese, which was kind of awkward, but also like it made sense on a text-based situation. And then when I would ask for like his Instagram or something, like he didn't have any pictures, just like a very low profile, like a very small picture profile of his face. So I couldn't really see his face that well. There was no pictures on his Instagram profile. And I started getting a bit suspicious, but also I was like young and naive and wanting to believe everything was fine. Like this could never happen to me, of course. So I remember that I didn't even tell my friends because my friends would say,
God.
yeah, again, stupid of me. It's fine. Like I survived. I'm here,
You're
right?
so alive.
So I remember I didn't even tell my friends because I know they would all tell me like, "Don't do this. You don't even have pictures of this person," as they should, obviously. And the stupid me is just being like, "I'm not gonna tell because I don't have to hear that." So one day he's like, "Oh, I think we should actually meet in real life. I think we should go for a coffee or whatever it is." And I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." And that's when we started like telling each other where do we live and everything.
Oh my god.
Like not like exactly the address, but like just areas. And then I found out that he lives in like a town that's actually close by to my town. So it was actually rather okay to meet. The problem is that in these towns there's no really good communication, like
no public transport.
Yeah, so there's no really good accessibility. But he goes, "Well, I have a car, so I can pick you up and we can go somewhere like the beach or whatever." And then I was like, "Okay,
sure,
sure, I can do that." And I feel like I only realized what I was doing when I was waiting at the pickup point because I chose like this path, which was like easy for him to see. And when I was there waiting, I was
It
like,
just dawned on you.
like it just dawned on me, like the 17-year-old me being like, oh my God, I'm gonna go in a car with this complete stranger that I don't know from where.
Can't believe it.
I'm gonna get raped, kidnapped, and murdered. And I was like, I was feeling so anxious in that moment, but I was like, should I just go away? Should I just
Should I just leave
should I
now?
just leave now? And then I'm pondering this moment. I'm like so scared for myself and being like, why am I doing this? Why did I get myself into? And then he texts me like, I am here. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, but then my curious side was like, let me just see who it is.
Wow. Zero survival instinct, Raquel.
So I saw the car, like it's very old car, and I saw a boy inside of it. So I was like, okay, it's not an old man. Stage one.
Stage one, approved.
Okay, approved. He was not very handsome.
Hence, no pictures.
Hence, no pictures probably. But I was like, okay, he's real though, like similar to the pictures. And I saw him, and instead of going away, I went inside the car. I actually didn't enter the car.
Crazy.
Crazy. And then we
I mean,
went.
I'm judging you, but my next story is no badass.
So like the whole scary part was this. And the thing, and I think this was one of the worst dates of my entire life. Like everything that came afterward was better in comparison. Even the Schengen visa guy was better. Like our video calls with like zero connection and like low quality was better than this date. Like this was awful, Julia. After such like a high tension moment of like me, I'm gonna get raped and kidnapped. This guy was boring as fuck.
Oh my God.
He was so boring. We went to the beach. I brought some food. He brought absolutely nothing.
No way. No preparation.
Nothing. Like he would barely speak to me. Like he would just stay quiet. I would make questions. I was like, oh, this and that. Nothing. He would answer like those like one word answers back to me, and I'm like, what's going on? And then the sun is going down, and I'm like, I think I want to go home. I want to go home.
Yeah.
It's just not going well. So I kind of like tell him I want to go, and he's like, oh, but now it's a sunset. I'm like, yes, I want to go home.
Yeah. That is why I want to go home.
Yeah, so like I started get like panicked myself because it's starting to get night and I really want to go home. This guy is not it. Like I'm in the beach with no one. He's my only way out. I need to get into the car and go. So we go, things are still very awkward, and then like he's driving, and this is a manual car, so you have to use the stick to like maneuver. And instead of doing that, he like tries to grab my hand and like holding my hand while he's driving. Like that's impossible.
Especially in Portugal where you have like heels all the time, so you actually have to use the stick all the time.
I know. And like the worst is like he puts his hands on me, like, you know, fingers between fingers, and like his hands like just touches horribly. Like
it's like the cold and clammy hair.
Yeah, it was like horrible, like a true monster. Like I hated it. I was like, ugh. Like imagine he's put hands on top, like trying to be all like sensual and shit. And I'm just like crying like coming out of it. I was like, you. And like his nails were like so dirty, and like that's such a it's not even a turn off. That's just like, oh my God, that's disgusting. So I'm going home and I'm just like, I'm trying to avoid any contact, eye contact. I'm the one now avoiding to speak. And then he's like driving me home, and I'm like, oh, drop me here because I'm gonna like walk. I don't want you to know where I actually live. And then he's like, oh, but like, are you gonna live without kissing me?
The audacity.
And then like I'm kind of panicked at this point. So I just said the most stupid thing out. I was like, oh, I don't kiss people. I closed the door on his face and I walked out, and
she's a man. She doesn't do that.
I was like, but then I said like, oh, I don't kiss people. I shoved his door in his face. And I walked out in like the darkness of an alley because like that was the way to my house, and I didn't want him to see it.
In the dark.
And I'm the ghost who disappeared in the dark, and then he just went away, and we never spoke ever again after that.
That is so bad.
So yeah, that was my first scary date.
Would you look at that?
Almost got kidnapped or catfished or alphabet together.
Mine is actually to an extent is quite similar.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of my scariest, like genuinely scary dates,
Yeah.
was actually a double date. Who would have thought?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, me and my friend were on a holiday in Italy. And we were in this little town, not really much going on, just beach, a couple of restaurants. And so one day we're like, okay, we're gonna go check out this restaurant that's apparently really good, has like amazing reviews in the little town. Mind you, in this town, no one speaks English, like not a word. We go to one restaurant and they're like, we even try to talk to them in Italian, like we're really making the effort, and they're like, no, no, no seats, go away, please. Like they just couldn't be fucked. So we go to this restaurant and there right away meets us this waiter and he talks to us like, great English. He's like, yeah, come on girls, let's go, sit down. So we're like, amazing, good start, finally, like hassle free. We sit down and the food looks amazing. So we're like, let's order a bottle of wine, couple pastas, and let's go. So we have this waiter, the same guy who greeted us. And, he's like, seems pretty good looking. Mind you, this was like right after COVID, so people were still wearing face masks in hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
So he's wearing like a black face mask and a black shirt and black pants, like classic waiter attire. So, he's looking pretty good with the face mask on. So me and my friend, at this point, we're like halfway through the bottle of wine in, both of us single. We're like, okay. He's like very flirty, he's like chatting with us. He's being like way more friendly than with other customers. Obviously, he's like making jokes
We'll
and
never see how friendly he will become.
coming over, just chatting us out, like where we're from, what we're doing. And then, we finish our meals and he's like, oh, you should get this dessert. And he brings us a little drink, like a shot of specialty drink. So, and then, me and my friend are like giggling and, obviously we're two tipsy girls just like being, oh, he's into us. Ooh. And then, at some point, like we're about to finish everything and he comes over and he's like, hey, I actually finished my shift in like 2 hours. Would you like to like meet up and smoke some weed?
Mm-hmm.
And he says he was in California for a while and he would like to, just chat with someone who he can talk to in English because the town is so boring and he has nothing to do here. And, it's just him and the two of us. So me and my friend are like, great, sure, we can wait around for you. Like it's a warm night. We're just gonna go on a walk, get some ice cream, chill on the beach. He gave us his phone number and he was like, text me and I'll text you and I'm done with my shift. So we're like, great, splendid. It's like two of us and one of him. What can go wrong? Like it's always, we have an advantage. There's two of us. So we walk around. We're obviously like super excited. We're like, oh, living our Italian dreams, flirting with the waiter. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna smoke some weed on the beach, And it's a really tiny town, so there is not really much you can do. It's pretty deserted at some point in the evening because, at some point people just disperse and nothing really is going on besides like a few people walking here and there from restaurants. So eventually, like a few hours in, he texted us. It's like 12 p.m. at that point, I think. And so we go to the restaurant and he goes out. And he goes out with another guy. And he's like, oh, actually, so his name was Ricardo. And then he goes out, he's like, this is my friend Eduardo. He's like one of the cooks. And I just thought I would bring him along. And we brought like some more wine and we have the weed. And they were like, oh, let's get in our car so we can go to this beach, like elsewhere. And I'm telling my friend, I'm like, her name is also Julia. I'm like, Julia, we're not getting in a fucking car with them. There's no way. But my friend, and she is tipsy, she is uncontrollable. And so she was like, no, we're going. Like, nothing wrong with that. Let's go. And I'm like, I can't leave her alone. And she's not going to listen to me. So
yeah,
the only thing I can do is just accept my fate and get in the car and hope for the best. So we go to the car. It's like the tiniest car, like the one that you have to fold the seats to get into the back. And these guys, they know what they're doing, so they don't sit together in the front.
Of course not.
One of them sits in the front and the other in the back. Anyway, so they obviously can sit like each next to us because So they drive. They start driving, and I can see that we're not going to the beach that's the most close by. We're not going to the beach that's like a walking distance from our Airbnb where we're staying. We're driving somewhere through like quite a big road, and at this point I'm like, where are we going? And we're driving. It's like a long beach, so we're just driving along the beach. So I was saying, hey guys, this here is fine. You can just stop now. Like here is good. This is a great place. And they're like, no, there's this like cool beach that we always go to that's good for skinny dipping. I'm like, fuck. At least it was like in a straight line, so I still kind of had a sense of where we are, because it was just like the same beach, but like in a different direction. Eventually, thankfully, they stopped. At this point where like I'm like, okay, it's fine, chill, you know, the beach is here, there's like a street right over there, it's not like too deserted, but either way, it's like nighttime, pitch black, no one else on the beach, just us.
Yeah.
These boys whip up like a bunch of like leopard pattern blankets
Oh
out of
my
the
God.
trunk. You know, like those like fluffy blankets, like fleece kind of type.
That's so kinky.
I know. And they're like leopard patterns, and they like lay them down on the beach, and we all sit, and like the guy grinds some weed, so we like share a joint. Then like we start talking. Mind you, the other dude speaks like zero English.
Like Eduardo.
Eduardo, basically like anything. Me and we are trying to like make conversation, but he's just like, you ask him like, oh, what type of music do you like, and he's like, pasta. Like it's honestly like the convo is not working. Like it's just so at this point, like he's just sitting there, like they play some music out of like a phone speaker, and it's like the most random music too. It was like, I think at some point it was like techno, and it was like weird like electronica, and then like some weird sensual music, and me and Julia are just at this point, she's also like sobering up, and we're just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? But anyways, we're like, you know, trying to like also not like make a weird situation, so we're kind of like playing along, and you know, we're drinking the wine, we're like smoking the weed, and you know, the guy gets like super flirty. He's like, we're like sitting in like a kind of circle, and they start like coming closer, like one to each, you know. At some point, one of them lays on like my legs, because I was sitting with my legs stretched out, and so he laid like his head on my legs. The other guy is basically also laying down on my friends at this point, like he's like leaning over her so much. So at some point, like me and her just look at each other, and we're like, and then we start speaking. Thankfully, like we speak Polish, so we just quit like, you know, saying Polish, and we were like, oh yeah, like let's go. Because it starts getting like weirder and weirder like every minute, and it's super late. It's like 2 a.m. at night at this point. No one around. So, you know, we like stand up and we just tell them, thanks guys, it was really nice, but like we gotta go now. And I could see it in their eyes. It was like the scariest moment ever. It just switched. Like they just look at each other with this like super like scary look. It's like, oh, they're getting away. Like we gotta like, you know, be quick.
That's so awful.
So we try to play it cool. So me and my friend just get up and we like speed walk through the beach. Like we don't want to run because we didn't want to look like we're running away, but we just like speed walk through the beach. And they start getting up like right after us.
Oh my God.
Like they start gathering all the things. So we're like, fuck, like let's go. Like once we reach the street village, they started like running.
Oh my God.
And then my friend is like, they're driving the car. Like they're in the car. They're like driving behind us. I'm like, no, maybe it's like another car. No, it was them. They started like following us with the car, and then they drive, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna like drive past because they're driving really fast. But no, they slow down like right next to us. It's like an empty street. There is no one there, and they slow down. They're like, come on, let's get in the car. Like we're gonna drive you home. Get in the car. Get in the car. We're like, no, thanks. We're gonna walk. Just leave us alone. And they start being like more and more you know, resistant. Yeah. So at some point, I'm like, I literally slammed the door and I'm like, fuck off. We're walking home. Drive away. Leave us alone. We start getting like really aggressive at this point because I'm like, just leave us alone. And eventually, like, they drive off. But yeah, it was so creepy because they actually drove like in front of us and then made like a U-turn to like, you know, stand right in front of us, and we're just, you know, two in a on a sidewalk. There's no one there. And then I remember like we were literally like holding hands and just like speed walking to our like Airbnb apartment, just like looking around our shoulder every time. So it was so scary. Like,
yeah, that's super scary.
We still reminiscent to this day. Yeah. And then the next day, my friend was like, "Oh yeah, that was a really bad idea.
That was a terrible idea." Yeah, me with my also getting to a car with a stranger. I'd be like, oh, "That was a terrible idea. What the hell was I thinking?"
But yeah, don't trust random men who invite you on dates and you have
and to go to cars. Like
those romantic films when they're like randomly meet and
are
the
just
guy is
films.
like, "Oh, let me take you out." No, in reality, way darker than that.
No, yeah. Like, do you know any real story what that ever happened? Like, okay.
Absolutely not.
So my next story is also kind of a scary one of this kind. So it's also a scary date. This was actually at a club. where things can really get very scary for a lot of
That's
people.
true.
So basically, this was already in London. So this happened in London. And it was me, my friend at the time, also roommate, and then a friend of hers who came to visit her from another country. So the three of us go on clubbing because this friend of my friend, she's very into clubbing, she's very into going out. She actually, honestly, we should have invited her because she has the craziest stories, like dating stories. Either way, we just all go hang out and we go to this more Latino salsa club type place. And we're there, we're dancing. Of course, guys start to come through, obviously, and like ask us to dance with them and things. And then there's this one guy who asked to dance with me. I bought one drink myself. Everything else, obviously,
Sorted.
sorted. So I just need to like do my first investment. Everything else gets sorted, as every girl like obviously relates. So this guy comes up to me. He says, "Do you want to dance?" He's actually a very good dancer, as most guys who go to Latino bars, to be honest. So we just start dancing a lot, and he starts getting me a lot of drinks. So like he gets me a gin, and then another gin, then like a shot, another shot. Like he's getting me a drink, I am there like next to him, so I know there's nothing on the drink because like the drink comes directly to my hand and I drink it and it's always there. So nothing wrong ever happened there. But we just like keep dancing, and we went there at like I don't know 10 p.m. maybe, and it's already 3 a.m. And I've been this whole time with this guy, and the more the time goes along, like the more intense he becomes. I kind of play along because to be honest, I'm having a good time so far because we're just dancing, but he gets like more and more. So like the dance moves get more like close to each other. Like he's like
sexual.
Obviously like starting to rub on me, things like that, starting to grab me in different places. And then there was a point that he started like kissing my neck.
Oh my god.
Yes. He starts like kissing my neck like while dancing, and I'm like, I don't know.
You're just like, oh, okay, I guess.
Like, okay, I guess. Like you're like, because I'm obviously tipsy, but thankfully I am someone who when gets drunk never loses consciousness. Thankfully. I mean that's why I also let myself drink that much because I know I'm very conscious what's going on. So I know that he's doing that, but obviously I'm still tipsy. So I'm like, well, I guess that's okay. So I'm just there. And there's a moment where I obviously start feeling a bit uncomfortable because he keeps like trying to make out with me, but I am not doing anything. Back in a way. So he's just doing it himself.
I got a clue, man.
I know, right? But there's a point that I'm like, okay, I think I have to say no. Like, it's not gonna, like, I'm gonna say no. So I just said, like, okay, that's good. Like, I start like standing back. I'm like, well, thanks. That was very nice to dance with you, but I think we're gonna go or something. And when I say that, as exactly the same thing as you, like his eyes just turn. Like he stops having like this like very, I won't say caring, that's a bit too much, but like a bit more like approachable, friendly, like stuff. Like he just like switches straight away. It's like, oh, but where are you going? Where are you going? I'm like, I'm going home. I was like, I brought a car here. I can take you home. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like we're in London. Like I don't need you. So it's like, oh no, I'm good. And then he's like starts like kind of grabbing me like in the arm.
Oh no way.
Like imagine like we were dancing, so obviously we had like in each other, but I'm starting to stand back and he just like grabbing me.
Oh my god.
Like on the arm and not letting me go. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna go. He's like, no, but I can take you by car. Like you can like come with me. And I'm like, I don't want to. Those moments of it's just a few seconds, but it actually feels forever.
Yeah, it's so frightening.
It's very frightening because I just see his eyes of like anger.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you disappointed them. And...
Yeah, and I start getting scared. So thankfully I'm not there alone yet again. So I just go as soon as I can like take my arm out of him, like I just go straight to my friends.
Yeah.
Because I know where they are because it's close to the closing times of the bar, so there's not that many people. I can actually spot them straight away. And I just go meet them and they're like, oh, is everything okay? Because they didn't really see anything happening. And I was like, no, it's not. We gotta go. this guy is starting to freak me out. And they're like, okay, let's go. So they were like very reactive. Let's leave. And I can see like we're like grabbing our coats and stuff, and he passes through me. How you say, like, it just like
hits your shoulder.
Yeah, it hits me like shoulder. Shoulder bumps me like and passes through me like aggressively, like leaving. So he left as soon as I said like I was not going to stay there with him anymore.
That's crazy.
And he left like alone, like super aggressive.
He was like, oh, I wasted my time for this.
Literally, that's what I felt like. I think that's like the worst part of like, I did felt a bit of guilt in myself afterwards. We went home on like a night bus, everything fine, no more creepiness going on. We're back home. I'm like in bed and I'm just thinking like I felt a bit guilty, which is crazy. I should not feel guilty about this.
Yeah, obviously it's not your fault. Like you didn't promise him anything.
I didn't. I had a good time, and once I was not having a good time anymore, I was like, I'm leaving. I don't obviously.
It was him who had something else in mind, obviously, and was, having some other hopes.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's not a problem for him to have hopes, but it also needs to be okay if the other person has a will of its own.
Exactly, like no means no.
Yeah, but I feel like every time I remember this night, which technically should have been like a more fun night, I just have that like memory of seeing his eyes like getting angry at me, and like I genuinely feeling frightened of like, okay, what is he gonna do now? Because he can like do whatever he wants with me at that point.
That's true.
So yeah, that was like
that's so creepy.
It's short but like scary, very scary,
scary,
because it's also in a club setting. So yeah, thankfully it was not as bad as many other club stories, but still. We jump into our jump scares.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think I have any as scary stories as this. I have one where a guy hinted that if he got a drink at a bar that he invited me to, he would get his passport taken away. Was really weird. Yeah.
That's kind of a jump scare.
Yeah. And he invited me to the bar and he was like, I don't drink. So I was like,
okay.
Are you gonna drink like a Coke? I felt like I was like on a date with my son. But at the same time, he was extremely creepy. So I was just like, this is just wrong. And after 30 minutes, I was like, actually, I'm really tired. So I'm just gonna go now. And I left.
Well, I have one funny jump scare story. So is your jump scare the...
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll tell mine first.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is a very short, funny, again, just a jump scare, like scary at first, but then like you're fine. So basically, I'm in London setting. This is like 2020, I believe, or 19. And I was doing an internship, and I was living in the student accommodation actually. And kind of close to the end, like I am in an individual room because some rooms are shared. And next to me moves in a guy, because he's like my neighbor in a sense. I probably crossed him like twice, 3 times, pretty much. Like sometimes I would say hi because I recognize him and say hi back and things like that. And the second time was when he knocked on my door.
Oh my God.
Yeah, knocked on my door, my bedroom door. I open it, it's him, and he's like, oh, hi. And like, hello. It's like, so yeah, I just moved to this room. I'm pretty sure you've seen me around the corridors. And I'm like, And and he goes like, you see, like sometimes I like to play the guitar. And I was like, yeah, I know. I've heard a couple of times like, oh, have you? I'm like, yes. And he goes, oh yeah, I just came in to like apologize if I ever like things. I hope that does not bother you. And I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, bye. And then it just goes back to his bed. And then that was it. That was the total of interactions we've ever had.
Yeah.
Okay. A hi, a bye, and this like guitar moment. Yeah. And then we fast forward, my internship ends, which means I am flying back to Portugal. I'm like literally finishing packing. I am putting my coat on. I'm about to leave forever this place. I'm moving out. And when I'm moving out, I hear a knock on my door. God. I hear a knock on my door, and it's him, my neighbor of the guitar. And it's like, oh, are you going somewhere? And I'm like, oh yeah, I am leaving forever, because I'm dramatic. So I'm like, it's like, oh, I'm leaving forever. And he's like, no way. And I was like, yeah, I'm flying away to another country. He's like, oh, well, that's such a shame because I wish we had some more time to know each other. And I was like, what's going on here? And then he goes like, because I feel like there was a connection between us, and I came here to say that I really like you.
What the hell?
I take a step back. I got my little jump scare, and I'm like,
wow. You're like,
mean?
we interacted once, and you're saying, I really like you.
Like, it's like saying, I really like you, and it's a shame we did not get to know each other better. I came here to tell you this so that we could go out. And I was like, huh, such a shame I'm leaving right
Too
now.
bad.
It's like, well, it was great to at least have met you once. And I was like, okay, dude.
We're like, thanks, bye now.
Bye now. I think I am sometimes a very horrible person because I took this chance because I had a bag of like stuff that
You make him carry your suitcase.
No. Actually, that's not that bad. What I did is that I had a plastic bag full of things that I could not take with me on the airplane that were mine that I bought to myself to that place, like cutlery and bowls and things. So I was like, actually, since you're here, I grabbed this plastic bag full of like my own trash. I was like, could you keep this for yourself? Because I have nowhere to put it.
Can't believe it.
Then he was like, are you going to give these things to me?
he was so blessed.
And I was like,
oh, I bet there is a guy somewhere in the universe now, and he's like eating with his favorite fork. And Tom, like, he has a girlfriend, and she asked him, why are you eating with this random fork? He's like, it's my favorite fork. This girl gifted it to me. Why?
I was like literally giving him my trash.
That is so funny.
So that was my jump scare of having one of my first love declarations happening at my doorstep of a guy that I didn't know.
What a fun. What a fun how much of an impact we can have on someone's life without even realizing it.
Right?
Wow.
So, and now we jump to the end with our sequel that we promised from before.
Exactly. So remember the ghost I talked about before? The one who kept reappearing and reappearing, who left me for a year. So the last time we discussed it, he's left me, just disappeared into thin air for a year. Then came back saying how terrible he was and how he has my bank card. We fast forward to last year, November, around this time, actually, I think. And I get tickets to a concert. And it's not just any concert. It's a concert of this musician that I really enjoy. And he releases a new album. And he has this little competition that you can sign up and you can win tickets to this concert. And so anyone who attends has to win the ticket. So you can't buy them. It's just like a very intimate kind of event and a little jazz club. And I happened to be lucky and I happened to get 2 tickets. So I took Raquel with me. And me and this guy, the ghost, used to listen to this guy. Actually, the first concert I went of this guy was with him. With the ghost, yeah. With the ghost. So we go to the little jazz bar and, we sit there with our little cosmopolitans. We're
yes.
Chatting. It's a tiny place, maybe like 10 tables and then like a couple of booths. Yeah. Really tiny. The tables are super close together. Like you can see everyone who's there. It's like a seated concert. So like super intimate, super small. And we're just there like chatting and then one of us goes like, how funny would it be if he just appeared here?
Yeah, because the artist that they both liked and stuff.
So we're like, what would be the odds?
Imagine.
That would be just hilarious. And then a few minutes pass, we're chatting, and then I look back and I see him. Not only him alone, but him and the friend. The girl who he was probably started dating once we were still trying to make things work. And they get seated because people were getting seated. And at this point, like almost all the tables were seated. And they get seated right in front of us. Like diagonally right in front of us. It's honestly the distance of like not even a length of a sofa. Yeah. So close. Like we can basically touch them.
Yeah, I took a picture. I took a picture.
It's so close by, and they see us right away.
Of course.
And he whispers something to her,
Mm-hmm.
and then they leave. They go outside for like 20 minutes. Me and Raquel are having the time of our lives,
Yes.
obviously. And then they come back. They look at us again.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like no interaction. He doesn't say hi
No,
or
no, no.
anything. Nothing civil is going on there. And he is being very touchy, just like, wraps his arm around her. Bear in mind, this is 2 weeks after he
made that text.
After he messaged me.
Yeah.
So they're being like really touchy. At least he is. She looks a bit uncomfortable, I have to say. Also, maybe because we kept laughing and talking about them, but listen.
I do not apologize.
Anyway, the concert is great. Passes by. We leave outside, go to have a cigarette, and they come out. And we're on the pavement in London, like just, standing outside of the venue. There's plenty of space. The pavement is long and wide. And they decide to stand right next to us.
We were already there again.
They stand right next to us to have a cigarette and to hug and to kiss. It was pretty incredible.
I would say that it was actually a jump scare more to him than to us.
It definitely was, because I was having the time of my life, but him seeing his face and like the debriefing that they must have had right after.
Oh my goodness.
And now I have little mini jump scare because Facebook keeps recommending her to me as a friend
every time.
So, well, girl, if you're listening to this, I'd like to be friends.
Yeah, let's connect. Let's share our shared ghost stories.
Exactly. So yeah, that was my biggest resurfacing in real life. And mind you, London is a big city, and I keep running into people that I had interactions with.
Everybody who lives in London knows that London is actually just a village.
This was quite hilarious, I have to say.
Yes, a great finale. So I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to share some of your jump scares, a scary story, a ghost story in the comments. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your Halloween, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.